Hello, and thank you for stopping by yet another edition of the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube here on Sunday, October 8th, 2017. I'm watching some beer reviews, on YouTube, just did a beer review of the Sierra Nevada's Oktoberfest for 2017. Hit or miss, wasn't really too fond of that one, but got a classic beer brand. America's beer. Not Budweiser. But at one point, they were second in sales and in production to Budweiser. We're talking about the, I think they have a slogan. I'm not sure. We're talking about Schlitz. Or is that the beer that made Milwaukee famous? Or something like that? I have no clue. They started in 1849 is when they were established. And they say on the Pabst Brewing Company website that they are the owners of this beer. That, I guess the beer started in 1902, but they got their start in 1849. They're the first brewery, strangely enough, here, and now all the way back in 1956 to have tall boy cans. I found that to be exceptionally awesome, which are the 16-ounce cans that we know and love today. And they were one of the biggest breweries in the 70s, selling 21.3 million barrels of beer in 1973. They were bought out by the Stroh's Brewing Company in the 80s, and in the 90s, they had a blockbuster deal with Pabst Brewing Company that bought out Stroh's. So now Schlitz is owned by Pabst Brewing Company, and I guess there's a 50-50 share. You'd have to ask Ronald Theriot, Louisiana Beer Reviews, or Jay Terriot if you want to really get some good information on how that works. But they're not owned. The Miller Brewing Company does not own Schlitz or does not own Pabst, but they have a sort of a joint venture, and Miller Brewing Company helps at their facilities to brew Schlitz beers. This is one of the highest rated, I think it actually might be the highest rated American-style lager on Beer Advocate, the adjunct lager. Now, their website and the Pabst Brewing Company's website does not list what their ingredients are or what they're using, but I would have to assume that they are going to be using some corn syrup. Corn syrup. That's what I have to assume. Their awards are 2004 Great American Beer Festival. They won a silver in the specialty lager style. And in the 2004 Great American Beer Festival, I don't know how they can be in it twice. They won a bronze for American style lager. In 78 it was American malt liquor style that it won a gold or a bronze. So anyways, now this is called Schlitz. Put it in a mug. This is called Schlitz. I believe it's still considered Schlitz Gusto. Now, I don't really, again, talk to Ronald Theriot, Jay Terriot, Louisiana Beer Reviews if you want to know what the Gusto means. I don't really know what that means. But what happened was when Pabst Brewing Company acquired Stroh's and then acquired Schlitz, they maybe about 8 years ago, and it says in 2007 is when this happened, is that they reformulated Schlitz to go back to their 1960s, almost more of their original formula. Now, Stroh's and Pabst and Schlitz themselves don't have any records for some strange reason of what the original recipe was. So Pabst Brewing Company found folks that worked at the brewery in the 60s and tried to get their point of view and take on what they remember the recipe to be and what was in the recipe. So this is about as close to the 60s that you can get. Ronald Theriot is saying, too bad, we only get the cans here these days. Fairly uncommon, though. Gusto is like drinking with energy, scarfing something down, guzzling. Well, there you go. Thank you, sir. Again, American-style adjunct lager, or just American-style lager, and it looks like a great one. Just a couple of bubble streams. Had some head, now died down, but it's still retaining some kind of head, which is nice. And it's got a real It's got like a roasted, I don't want to say roasted corn, but it's like a corn on the cob kind of a smell to it. Pretty white, bready, malty. Getting a lot of the grains. You're getting a lot of the cereal grains. You're getting some wet cardboard paperiness. But there's definitely a good bready malt in the background on this one. So, cheers. Schlitz. Gusto. I'm still going to say, that could be, I'm still going to say corn on the cob, but what they're probably using is the corn syrup, which is, or as some people know it as, dextrose, the syrup. So it has that component to it. There's definitely a little touch of a, I guess a saz, sort of a spicy hop note, but just a little bit. It's got a nice sweetness to it. It's not overly sweet. It's on the high side of light. There definitely is a corn roastiness in there in the background. It's definitely crisp, clean, ultra refreshing. Like I said, it's a high light on the body, but it's definitely full flavored and definitely has a lot more malty character and pale malt notes than most lagers. And this one does, yeah, it really does have a hot bite to round out the sweetness, which is nice to it. Again, roasted corn a little bit, some nice light white bready malt notes, and a little bit of a hot bittering / spice note, which makes the Schlitz beer the award winner it should be, and I don't know why it's not more commonplace in American beer drinking. I know that there's one store where I bought this in my area of southeastern Massachusetts, in the town that I live in, that always has Schlitz. So if I'm ever in the mood for Schlitz, I absolutely know where to go. I think it was $7 or $8.99 for this. And it says on the bottle, September 18th, 2017. I don't know that it has a high turnaround in my area, but it still tastes pretty fresh to me, so I can't really complain. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but I believe this is 5%. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks. The bottle actually does not say that. But I gotta give this an A if I'm looking at this $8.99 or it's either $7.99 or $8.99 Friar Tuck. I gotta give this an A for what it is, and it's definitely a much better than average for an American style light lager, or an American style adjunct, I should say, full-bodied beer. Is it the most gourmet and exquisite beer on the market? No. It's not supposed to be, and that's not what it's meant to be, but this can certainly go toe-to-toe with Pabst Blue Ribbon, no problem. It can go toe-to-toe with Narragansett Lager, no problem. I'm looking at the Pabst Brewing Company website. It's definitely better than Lone Star. I had Schaefer once. It's better than that for me. We don't get Schmitz or Stroh's or Old Style. I think Hamm's is owned by Miller. We're starting to get Hamm's in our area, so if I see it, maybe if I go towards the state of Rhode Island, I'll pick up Hamm's and do a review of Hamm's. But yeah, I don't understand why this couldn't have and shouldn't have done better than Budweiser. It's definitely got a richer, maltier, fuller mouthfeel to it. So if all of that sounds good in a light beer drinking type of an experience, this is one to go to. There's definitely some toasty or like roasty corn note mixed in with that pale maltiness that I'm absolutely loving. So much better than Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest. Oh God, I said it. So again, like always, if you have a beer I should be reviewing, put it in the comment section below, and I will see what I can do to find the beer and review it. So, again, thank you, Friar Tuck, and thank you, Ronald J. Theriot, Louisiana Beer Reviews, for watching live at the time of this review. This has been Schlitz. The Gusto version is now what they sell. 60s formula. Till next time, keep tasting pretty good mass-produced beers. Cheers. I will definitely see you guys soon.